virtually. This is Rick's and Ms. Lisinski are no call, no show. And folks have been calling them and leaving messages, texting them, and they're not answering, even though you just spoke to Jesse half hour ago, right?
I had email correspondence from her at 5:27.
Okay, so did she say anything about not attending?
No.
So because of that, we don't have a quorum, because we need 5 people to physically be here, and then we can vote in the 2 board members that are here virtually. I just want to say that in the 7.5 years that I've been on the board, we've never not had a quorum. This is the first time this has ever happened. And unfortunately, it's through politics and folks that want to hold the board hostage. That's my opinion, not the board's. I don't know why they're not showing up, but we can't start the meeting.
Well, the state monitor and I discussed this while we were sitting here waiting. Technically, you do need 5 people to start the meeting and have a quorum when the board members are made up of 9 board members total. The board's policy 0155.1 permits virtual attendance and participation by board members who cannot be here. The requirement being that prior to the meeting, the board needs to vote to permit those individuals to participate, allow those individuals to participate virtually. Since we don't have 5 people here in person, we kind of can't start the meeting, but the state monitor and I have discussed this, and the restriction on starting the meeting related to virtual attendance is really a board policy as opposed to a law. With that being said, the board could suspend its policies, but again, that needs to be done by way of a formal recorded board vote. With all of that being said, and under the circumstances, my suggestion would be that we open the meeting and we go ahead and we take a vote to allow the 2 board members who literally are in a virtual waiting room waiting to be let in, that we take a vote amongst the board members that are present to allow the 2 members who are in line waiting to be let in to start so that we can, the board can conduct its business. I don't want to speak for Mr. Schachter, but it appears that he's in agreement.
Mr. Schaffer, you agree?
Well, not the exact method, but let the board take the vote and then okay.
All right. And by the by, it's come to my attention that one of the missing board members has texted various people, various elected officials, asking them to come to this meeting and waste their time as well. So, just want folks to remember, it may be campaign season soon, but this is sure an interesting way to run for office, letting down the kids. So, all right, so I guess we take a vote let's do roll call. Yeah, all right, I'm going to read the Also, the other reason why we need to continue having a meeting is that we've got bills to pay. If we don't pay the bills, our kids suffer. So, in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:46, PL 1975, C 231 S1, amended in 2006, C 70 S2, the Asbury Park Board of Education has provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending a notice of the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the New Coaster, on January 8th, 2024 via email. Copies of this notice have also been placed at the Administration Building Bulletin Board, District Schools, Asbury Park Municipal Building, Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the City Clerk on January 8th, 2024. Mission statement is Asbury Park School District to provide all students with a comprehensive and progressive education with everyone possessing the skills and character to succeed in a diverse and evolving global society. Roll call, please.
Here.
Bennett.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Tracy Rogers, you have to take yourself off of mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
Here.
here.
So let's do a motion. I'd like to make a motion to allow participation virtually of Dr. Penna and Mr. Rogers.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Any abstentions?
Okay, I'd like to commit. In reality, I'm actually about to approve the entire agenda, and even if the board's not here. I'd rather see the meeting take place, and just in case there's any questions down the road, whether this is an official meeting or not. Can't say we're providing it, we're approving the motion to allow the meeting to.
All right. So I think we
That should
should
take care of everything.
What's that?
That should take care of any
Okay.
possible complaints.
I appreciate your advice and assistance. Okay, flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any presentations? Okay.
If the record could just reflect that Mr. Remy joined us at 6:38.
Yeah, I apologize for late. I'm battling with short traffic and I needed a shower. I don't know if y'all know that I work at a chemical plant and I can't bring those type of things in there.
We are grateful that you're here.
We're grateful that you're here. As folks said, no call, no show. So, yeah, it's all right. Okay, so let's do the report of the committee chairs. We'll start with the money, finance, please.
I had reported at our special meeting last week that we had discussed the grant, and we're grateful for the grant that we received from the state through the efforts of our senator. So $1.8 million went into the budget for programming. The one other thing that we have been discussing in the course of this past week that we haven't reported on last week is here's an update on the college achieve situation and the verification of the students. Unfortunately, the administrative law judge ruled a week ago against us and in favor of college achieve, requiring us to turn over all of the funds that we held that they would do for the 23-24 school year, and notwithstanding this open residency verification issue. In her opinion, she implored the Commissioner of Education to meet with us to discuss this issue so that it can be resolved. But until that happens and the Department of Education issues some different ruling or overrules this judge, we are compelled to fund them. This board will continue to make its decisions on a month-to-month basis, notwithstanding this decision. As of this date, there were 278 student names identified by College Achieve, and we still lack verification documents on 64 of those. And this is for the 23-24 school year, not the forthcoming school year. Even with that, College Achieve had projected 285 students in its filings, for which we have been making payments based on that number of students. That is not a certified number by College Achieve, it is simply a number that they filed. So we are, in truth, missing data on 71 of the students, which is almost a quarter of the students that they claim to have. We have also had our council send a letter to College Achieve's council informing them that the Asbury Park School District will not pay any funds to College Achieve for the 24-25 school year unless each and every one of those students have been verified for Asbury residency. We've already received a letter back from their council claiming that we are not entitled to do this, but we have given very instructions that the family should appear at the school that they would otherwise attend in the district to provide their documentation, at which point we would verify them and then they could go and register at College Achieve. And that is the position that we are standing by at this time. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Not one cent. Let's do buildings and grounds. Right.
So I'm gonna do buildings and grounds and athletics together, if that's okay. So I'll start off with athletics. We have some great news. So right now, it's currently about 150 student athletes who are eligible to play in fall sports. That includes soccer, which would include a freshman team, a JV team, and an actual varsity team. We have about, it's a big. We have about 40 student athletes who are eligible to play for football. We also have a girls volleyball team, which has about 20 student athletes. And the basketball as well. It's a pretty good look. I feel as though we're moving in the right direction. You know, academics come first, and they prove that they want to be student athletes, and it shows a lot. And very proud. I haven't heard these type of numbers in a long time. Last year, this time, we were thinking about not even having a team for certain sports. But right now, we have well above the numbers. So that's a good thing. And now we'll go on to buildings and grounds. Buildings and grounds, the updates for the 3rd of Marshall. Mr. Sosa met with the fire alarm contractor for options on replacing the system due to the end of life and minimal support for current product. Quotes received will be budgeted for 24-25, year 24-2025. The water damage, staff scheduled to review items damaged by flood, estimates being prepared for the build back portion. Industrial hydrants has been selected for the final air testing once both back is completed. All risks have been working diligently to ensure the school will be ready by the end of August. We also talked about the soccer field. I know certain residents came here and discussed about having damage in their homes and properties, things like that. With the children playing on the soccer field, we received a quote for the netting, which is $53,000 to install the netting on the outside and $19,000 to replace the fence damage due to vandalism. So that right there, I already know that will take some time, but we eventually will get to it. Also, this is one of my biggest things that I suggested, and I hope the board would approve this. So basically, things that Barack Obama, however you want to call it, we've been sitting on this for a while, and we haven't made any improvements or made any moves. So I suggested that we get the community involved, and we could just move things out of the gym and move it to certain classrooms. We get the community involved. I know certain individuals who have businesses or who would just like to volunteer to help because they have so much, like heart and passion for this community, and they actually went to city school. So we can get them to just help and move things, be included, for help and move things out of the gym and move into certain classrooms, so we can start doing things with that building, whether it could be yoga, basketball, whatever we can think of, teaching, whatever we can think of for the community to utilize that space and utilize that area of the district. And another thing that we discussed, we had another meeting, former middle school player, NBA 16 of the year, Minnesota Timberwolves, Asbury, wants to do something with this community. So he suggested a statue that I think we should do him a mural on the side of Dr. Martin Luther King Middle School. So I feel that there would be more eyes that would see it. You don't have to go into the actual building, but you can just drive by. You can see it, you can take pictures, you can see the prospect course, the Don Layman course, while you're looking at the mural, and it's right next to Sheffield. It's just so much. It could be like a tourist attraction if you do this the right way. So I hope the board will, look at that, to prove that not a lot of people that made it from Asbury are giving back. He wants to give back. So why not? He's a very humble, he's doing his thing right now. If y'all don't know him, if y'all watch next season, Nas Reed, don't forget the name, 6 million a year, watch him. He represents.
That's a great part right there. He wants to do a basketball game.
Yeah, and a basketball camp. Yeah, I'll see this schedule. And a basketball camp as well. Yes. But you talking about five, that's Anthony Edwards. Okay, but yeah, it's a real good look. And it's gonna bring more traction, more revenue, get the children involved, and everyone who respects the game of basketball and just respects him or just respects Asbury will come by and see this. They want to take pictures. It's a the opportunity to take a picture with a superstar, from their very own. It's inspiration. It's inspiring. I'm inspired to talk about it. So yeah, I feel that we should do that. We don't have nothing else going, so why not do that? Why not, That's it. Important thing.
One last thing, since we're talking about buildings across the hat, is there an update on tennis courts?
Yes. So the Asbury Park Tennis Initiative, as board members are aware, would like to make a donation by way of providing free tennis courts to the district. I've been in touch with their attorney now for quite a while. We've been going back and forth. We have a memorandum of understanding with them. We've created, drafted a development agreement, and the development agreement was forwarded to the Asbury Park Tennis Initiative's attorney this last week, and we're waiting to hear back from them concerning any issues or questions that they may have with that development agreement, to the extent that hopefully they're satisfied with it, and we can get this kind of wrapped up and moving along. I know that the board's architect has been involved and has developed schematics for the courts, and at this point, once we have that agreement in hand, Shelley's going to
sorry, I do have, two more things. The fields behind the high school, I know that there's a turf and then there's another field. The turf is locked off. It's for, for our services, our games are legit. But the other side, the field is open to anyone who's able, to anyone who wants to use it. It'll be 24 hours access. And another thing I want to mention is AYF. AYF is the students, it's for the children within this district. And I feel as though that should be, so either that's with us or joint services with the community, with the city. The children of this city, if they don't have AYF, they don't have nothing else for them to play or do, then we're just off to the wayside in a sense. So I feel that we should really do something, really waive those fees. So if we can't waive those fees, I feel as though the city should help us with joint services so we can get those fees waived, so our children of this city, of this district, can play and do what they need to do and represent us. So we can have organized reasons out here. You know what I mean?
Just to piggyback on that, so just so everyone knows, we did send a letter to the city of Asbury Park asking for a meeting, to talk about a variety of different issues, including shared services. Those shared services would also include seeing how we can manage opening the fields for a certain amount of time, because it costs money. So we're hoping to hear back from them in a few days. Set a meeting and set a course to try to get a few more access to some of the fields. Is that it, Mr. Rep?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me see. All right, policy. Shall I give policy? Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Bennett?
Package and policy.
Okay. All right, sure.
It's pretty straightforward. Policy met on July 18th and then began virtually. In attendance was myself, Dr. Moxley, and Mr. Rogers as an alternate. It was basically just updates to policies, suggested by Strauss Resume. Nothing else to report on that. Most of them are revised. Nothing new to the policies. And of course, we follow that when it comes to Strauss Resume. So that's the end of my report.
Dr. Pettit, where are you calling from?
I am calling from Milan.
So it's almost 1 o'clock there, huh?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you for taking time out of your work with the students, taking them there. So,
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. I will be here as much as I possibly can. I'm sorry that I'm not there in person, but I have to take the children from my district to another country to experience something. So I'm happy we were able to have a meeting. So, and thank you, Ms. President, for calling out the people that are boycotting this meeting. I think that's completely unacceptable.
Thank you, Dr. Bennett. Okay, that's it with the committee, of course, for the committee chairs. So why don't we have a review of the regular meeting agenda items. But before we do that, let me do public participation first. So in accordance with Board Policy 0167, Asbury Park Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and other matters of importance, and provides members of the public with the opportunity to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session. All public comment shall be directed to the board president or the presiding officer of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to make public statements must be recognized by the presiding officer and provide his or her name, municipality residence, and group affiliation if applicable. All public comments shall be directed to the presiding officer and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public who do not follow the foregoing rules and or interfere with the orderly operation of the board meeting may be removed from the meeting. Let's make sure that doesn't happen.
Good evening, board. My name is Linda Solomon, and I reside in Lebanon Bay. I know we're not supposed to direct it to other board members, but if you can find out what's the fee for AYF in regards to using the facility, because I could possibly help them get some sponsors to help pay for their fees. The other issue is, I'd like to say for the finance, I appreciate the opportunity to hear that we are not just sitting back and allowing other districts to take advantage of that as a part like us would love to do. But we are actually calling them out on, if these kids are not students of Magic Park, we shouldn't have to keep providing that funding because that means we're taking away from our own children. So if they need, what kind of, let me know. One eye and one go. But at the end of the day, I just like to say, you know, when it comes to, you know, showing our children that we care in regards to what's happening. This is a perfect example. As I said, based on dealing with what went on in our district, this is a perfect example of people who always say, I care about the kids, I care about the kids. But then when it comes to a board meeting, and 90% of your tables are empty. So I would actually start taking this picture and putting it on social media and saying, what happens to the rest of our board? If they couldn't, you know, they couldn't physically be here in person, at least they're virtual. But what about the ones that keep saying they're about our children and they're really not here to provide that service for our kids? Let's call them out.
Bill, can we get an email to someone about the cost of the AYF?
Hello. Sheila Brazil, for the time, for the Tiffany Street. Are you heard that commercial? What is the commercial where it's me? On social media, say, where's the board? Okay?
Where's the what?
Where's the board? Where's the board? Where's the board? And another thing, is there a policy, like, you just like, three or four consecutive board meetings without, with a no call, no show, you remove from the board? Unless y'all change the update, I know it used to be.
Yeah, it is a statute,
Well, something, I know it's.
and just to be clear, so Mr. Saunders has
I
gone,
know.
yes, medical issues, he's let me know about that. So it's kind of like a doctor's note excuse. I don't know where Mrs. Riggs and Mrs. Itzler
I also received a text about sometimes the board, okay?
from.
Mrs. Ricks, yes, it is.
So Mrs. Riggs sent you a text
Oh, you
to come to the
I
board.
don't know, I thought it was, about the board, but I think it's the board, and I received a text saying that the board meeting, I don't know. But at the end of the day, when you're not trying to put anybody out there, but if you go want to play games, you don't have time. But at the same time, we need to just make sure people are doing their work. And it's like you got a job, no call, no show, you get fired from your job, right? So we need to go back and look at the record. I'm sure former board member, there's a statute or something saying you miss consecutive meetings with a no call, no show, and you don't let the president know or somebody in charge know, something happened. I love you, but I would love you, but right is right, wrong is wrong, no matter who you are.
I agree.
That's a good thing.
Which is an incident last week, this year, as trying to be nice, my voice is natural. President of the
WCC Historic Renovation Association, formerly known as Asbury Park, Westside Community Center. I'm here just for multiple reasons, but because I got a text, and someone said, come into this meeting. So before I make any judgment, I want to make sure that everybody is okay. And to kind of get to a couple just things that I just recently heard and was reading. When we go after, what we ask for is validation of the people from the charter school to make sure we are not wasting our money that might end up in a legal fee. Is it a proper, I'm asking for the attorney, is it a proper standard practice for us to ask? Because I know before you even go to one of these schools, you have to get the verification and stuff from the school district. So are we asking for something that is already asked for, or are we asking for something new? Because again, you don't want to be into the weeds. Don't answer yet, second, with Baines Avenue as a person that loved it, I never went there, but I love the school. I'm down for doing something community oriented there. As being down the street and also in the midst of development plans for the area, I am looking into engage for something into 2000 and 3000 and beyond, especially working with local content, wind energy that has to come from Monmouth County, tons of underfunding, and also looking for some great opportunities for the children and people of the community to advance us in the future. So I am engaged with the church that's literally next door, and I own we own quite enough property down the street, we're in the midst of development, and the plans for development. So working with y'all will be good. And third is, let's do some new policies. Right, I hear some good stuff. We had an opportunity to develop new policies on teacher student conduct, on student conduct, on developmental education for the school, and also what I was noticing, something really great, well not really great, but something standard. We're looking at schools that we pay to send our children to. I see them to go here quite a many times. Being a partial product of them in school, I know they have something different there. They have deaf students, and they have a full program for hard of hearing students and deaf students in that school district. That's probably one of the reasons why we're sending our children here. When we creating content for Asbury.
Sorry, time's up.
Let's get the questions answered.
Yeah, so to be clear, I'm not representing the board on the college achievement matter, but I will say that this board takes their fiduciary obligation to protect the public funds and to be good stewards of the public funds very seriously. To that end, the board, before it disperses payments, wants to make sure that it's actually paying for something that it is required to pay for. And it's somewhat troubling when the board has to go jump through hoops and climb skyscrapers in order to get that information, just because it wants to maintain the public's trust with and be good stewards of the public funds. So it is up to the courts and really up to the Commissioner of Education to try and come in to help the district to ensure that it is paying out monies that it is actually required to pay out. So to that end, I have no doubt that this board will continue to fight for what it believes in so that it can effectively discharge its obligations to protect the public funds.
But
Right, and also, folks, I know that you only have 3 minutes, but if time runs out, you can always email Mr. Trevino, email me, and we'll get your questions answered.
Ms. Simmons, that was my long way of saying the board's going to fight for what it feels is right. And that's it.
Yeah.
it's Ross
Joe, and I like to say, Ms. Simmons has been in the community for years. And, if she has any questions, she knows that we're gonna work with her, find any help for any children that need the help in our district. And we will fight for every kid that's, supposed to be taught. So, and if she, has issues with, any children with issues, please bring them to me or any of the board members. We are here to make sure that they are certified.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Anyone else? Public participation?
Yeah. I have one for email, that would be easy.
Sure.
This is from Katie Healy, and she is an AP resident, educator, and parent of a Bradley Elementary student who wishes to speak on tuition. Budget cuts and school reconfiguration. I am not only concerned that families are only notified of the school reconfiguration on the last day of school, but also what this means for our school educators and most importantly, our kids. Many students and teachers knew about reconfiguration weeks to months before that letter went home. Why weren't families notified immediately as well? But now that the reconfiguration is out in the open, as an educator who has taught in various cities, I have watched school reconfigurations happen as a way to make up for budget shortfalls. For example, you can eliminate teaching positions and increase class sizes through the reconfiguration in order to make this might grow a budget spreadsheet, but who are people actually using now? Teachers, staff, and students. What does this mean for class sizes and student-to-teacher ratios with these new configurations? What does this mean for academics, support services, and specials? I am also concerned about these reconfigurations happening every 3 years and what this lack of consistency means for our kids, teachers, and staff. Opening playgrounds and the Pine Street soccer field. Many residents and parents have asked repeatedly over the years to open the locked playgrounds and the soccer field on Pine Street. Residents have been given many excuses: safety, liability, no response, new residents not liking the sound of children playing, and now the latest money. Many of the board members stated before the election that opening these facilities was a priority for them, and still none of these facilities are open. I am again requesting that school playgrounds and the Pine Street soccer field be kept unlocked and accessible dawn till dusk, as it is the practice by towns and cities everywhere. This is also the practice at some other school district facilities. By opening the playgrounds and soccer field, we would increase the use of these locked facilities and offer our children places in the city that are accessible, safe, and familiar to be active in. As a local lawyer and parent pointed out to me, the City of Asbury Park Master Plan is also relying upon these locked playgrounds in its open space, lakes, parks, and recreation chapter. See section 5.9.22B, which states the Southwest neighborhood is served by active recreation at the Barack Obama Elementary School and Martin Luther King Junior Middle School. In some cases, the playgrounds are nearly brand new facilities and they are permanently locked. Since money is current focus, this is a simple and affordable yes. The facilities are there, the liability insurance is there. You have community members who have volunteered to open and close these playgrounds. Please open the playgrounds and soccer field. Our children need accessible, safe, and familiar places to play and be active. Board members giving individuals a different story every few months is not what we need in action. Thank you for your time. Have a community, 8th Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey.
All right, I'm going to close. Is there anyone else?
What about Little League, but like AYF? That's it.
Okay. All right. No one else? Okay, we'll close public participation. Can you forward me that email? This evening? And maybe I spoke with a few of the folks that wanted parks so that they grab a ribbon, explaining to them that it's a lot more complex, and those issues are not excuses, that there are reasons why. God forbid, a child kicks a ball into private property and goes to the pool, and the kid hops a fence and drowns in the pool. That's on us. So when we ran for office, we said we want to safely and securely open parks, the fields and the playgrounds as much as possible. And at least I know that we're going to stick to that with an emphasis on safety and security first. Volunteers going and opening up the playground and closing up the playground. God forbid there's a fight and the volunteer goes to try to break it up and a child falls on the ground and gets hurt. That's on us. So there's a lot of different things that we need to go through, but this is why we're speaking with the city and we're going to meet with them and talk about shared services. So, but I appreciate Celia's email and taking the time to write all of that. I just want to read it on my own second time. So, all right. So let's go.
Great answer.
What's that?
That was a great answer.
Thank you.
It's a lot that goes into it.
It's
A lot of people realize what goes into it.
Yeah. And look, Mr. Remy is chair of the Loser Graph. He hears it all the time. How it's just like we wish it could just be like, okay, let's unlock it and go, but it ain't that. So let's review the regular meeting agenda items. About that. Are there any questions from the board, either virtual or in person? On the agenda items? Yes. Yeah.
Everybody see the agenda, C.4, and 2, Blue. I am colorblind. It was passed out at the meeting today.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the item number?
It's on a separate piece of paper. Addition to the agenda, page C.4, item 2.
I see C4 item 1.
It was passed out tonight.
Okay, here we go. All right.
It is the emergency resolution for Thurwood Washington School.
Okay, I'm going to read this out. All right. So whereas sometime over the weekend of June 22nd, 2024, a pipe supplying water to a toilet located on the 3rd floor of 3rd of Marshall Elementary School disconnected from the toilet. Whereas by the time the leak was discovered on Monday, June 24th, 2024, the water had caused extensive damage to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd floors of the building. Whereas Allris, at an estimated cost of $300,000, was hired to contain the damage and begin repairs to allow for the opening of school in September. Allris is the name of the company, I'm assuming. Whereas the claim was submitted to reimburse the school district for said costs, less than $5,000 deductible, and whereas the immediate purchase of these goods and services is deemed to be an emergency pursuant to NJSA 18A:18A-7, as these goods and services affect the health and safety and welfare of the occupants of the school property. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the contracting of all risks and any other contractors as required to remediate damages and allow schools to open on time and in September of 2024. We have to vote on that resolution as well. All right. Very good. I did have one question about the one position that I saw in here, assistant school business administrator. Is there an idea, and again, ballpark, in terms of the salary?
Salaries in the county range from $75,000 to $125,000.
All right.
So depending on experience, and what you can bring to the district. The job description was always there, but it's changing its requirements. And so for more accounting services.
Any other questions or comments or anything? Okay. All right, let's do a consent agenda. Let's do a consent agenda, on the 8 pages. Make a motion.
Motion for consent agenda B1 to B7. I have one motion, I need a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Ms. Lawson?
Yes.
Dr. Markey? Yes. Dr. Tennant?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Grillo?
Yes.
Thank you. You need a motion to approve minutes? You didn't make a motion to approve the minutes?
Oh, that's right, that's what I was saying. Yeah, let's make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous.
Please move the minutes.
Ms. Lawson?
Yes.
Dr. Markey? Yes. Dr. Tennant?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Grillo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we go on, I did have a discussion, with all the, staff changes and collectively, with our superintendent. I wish he could explain. And I'm very glad that he has told the staff, be, very, idealistic and watching the staff members. And if he could just explain that, you know, as we've had quite a few years, we always move people around, that I think they put together a complementary staff of where people are going, and people are going to be able to really focus on the educational process and focus on the children. So I want to commend him for him telling me that, you know, each of his administrative staff is totally focused on on people's movements and trying to reduce the amount of moving people around. So I want to thank the superintendent.
Yes, it was moving. If you were like first group meeting, like, what I want to do is I want to make sure we have the right people in the right places. In the past, we've had teachers that have taught middle school for 20 years. 20 years, you can't hit.
Yeah.
It's up there. 20 years in the middle school, and because one reason or another, they wanted to put them down in third grade. So you got a teacher that taught social studies for 20 years, now you're making them teach math, science, English, you know. Now it's a learning curve for that staff member, so it made no sense to have staff members not where they belong. So I made sure we put the staff members where they belong. And they can comment on that one comment in public session about restructuring the schools. Anybody that is in education knows that when you restructure the school and you bring all grade levels together, you create an optimal environment for learning. I spoke to Les Richards today, the county superintendent, and he's excited because that was the perfect thing to do, was to bring your pre-K together, to bring your kindergarten together, bring your first grade, all the grade levels together, so now you create cohorts of teams that are going to teach these kids. No longer you're going to have two grade levels in two different buildings. They're all going to be together, sharing ideas, and doing better by our students. So that's why I did what I did, not to break continuity in the district, but to improve continuity in the district. Because when you're all together, there's continuity. When you're separate, there is no continuity and consistency. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's pay the bills. So I'd like to make a motion to vote on C1 through C4, including the addendum.
Both agendas?
Yeah. Can I get a second? Second.
Thank you. Ms. Watson?
No, as to the two items that are listed for college achievement, I think there are only two. There's tuition, $277,996, and another bill of $2,384. No as to both of them, if there are any other college achievement bills that I missed, then no as to those.
Thank you. Dr. Maksud? Yes, sir. Dr. Penn?
Yes to everything except for anything that has to do with college achieve, that's a no.
Thank you. Mr. Remy?
Yes to everything, except for everything that has to do with college.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes to everything except for anything that has to do with college.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah. Yes to everything except for anything that has to do with college achievement. Although I do have to abstain from paying any bills to gas, electric, cable, and water. Thanks to my new job. Any and all utilities.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I was just writing.
Yeah.
We're abstaining from utilities.
Yeah.
So everything passes, thank you.
Except for
Except college
Except for
achievement.
the college achieve. And as far as the tuition, does this say college achieve tuition or does it just say charge?
No, there is a specific, it says college achievement, there are two entries for college achievement, and one specifically says tuition.
On the pupil placement,
I'm sorry?
there's one that says pupil placement charter school, is that the one you're saying?
No, I'm talking about the one.
On the bills and claims list?
Yep, that
Okay.
specifically says tuition.
Okay.
For $277,000.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we pay the bills. Superintendent's report.
Thank you. I mentioned some things before, but just a quick rundown of what's been going on in the district. So not only we know that central office has been officially moved out of 910, 4th Ave. I think we'll remember what street it's on. We saved over $300,000 this year with that move, and we're on the 3rd floor, and board members have come and looked at it. It's a fantastic place to be. We're all on one floor, we're all together, no more separation. I want to thank Dr. Morano, our special education consultant, helping us receive $670,000 IDEA funds this year, which has been used already, it's already been allocated. We're looking for another, maybe over $1 million in X-ray. We don't know exactly what that's going to be yet. I am still in constant communication with all the district building level administrators and supervisors. We had a meeting yesterday. It's been more than collaborative. Everybody's willing to work together. Dr. Richards actually commented on how he's never seen the district in the last couple of years be so communicative, willing to work together, willing to put themselves out there, and not worried about saying something wrong. So he actually made that comment today in a meeting I had with him, Dr. Blesnick, for the QSAC review, and Mr. Ruiz was there. Some of the people were there as well to hear that. Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall, right now, we have, I think, 25 or 30 workers in there getting all the sheetrock back up, spackled and painted. So we will probably be there earlier than the end of August, hopefully. So I just got that today. What's that? We're also looking to move forward with the possible sale of the maintenance building. The state wanted to walk through it, and we are going to vet some appraisers to come out, give us appraisal on that property, so we can start moving over to Barack Obama building. I want to thank Ms. Phil Howard, Mr. Warbe, and Ms. Crawford, who's our bilingual community parent Bible specialist, because they were scheduling registrations for pre-K through 12. They will be held at each of the elementary schools. We're going to open up, they're going to use the playground so kids can play, and also have parents come in and register their child. So that's going to be at all three of the elementary buildings. Our pre-K registration numbers have increased from 90 students to 160 students for the 24-25 school year, which is fantastic. And again, today we met with Dr. Richards and Dr. Leslie, the county office, to complete our 6-month review of the QSAC report, which we did very well in. And I'm going to reiterate what Dr. Richards said about how things are here and how everybody's willing to work together. I had a personal meeting yesterday, and I can just sit back and not say anything because they're actually running the show and not afraid to share information, not afraid to ask questions. I truly believe we have a great administrative and supervisory team this year. We have great things that are going to happen in the district, and it's all going to be worth the fight that we go through every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Great to hear about the increase in enrollment.
Actually, one more thing, I apologize. Mr. Reverend, talking about Barack Obama. I met with Chris Hill, who runs the PAL around the country, Lieutenant Petley from the Asbury Police Department, Joe Iasola, the superintendent in Howell. They run a PAL program in Howell out of an empty school building. And they would like to come into Asbury Park. And what they will do, will run all our after-school programs for us. And they'll work with the Boys and Girls Club. And, you know, they're looking for a building. And they want to put a community center in. They want to put the B&A in. And we have a building that's available. It's something we're going to discuss moving forward. If it's something that we can do, we have a great community place for Asbury Park. So I want to let you know that.
Thank you. That'll be a record. Absolutely. You're right. That's what we need. All right. State law. Here. All right. We will send.
Hold on. I feel like I reiterate this. The cleanup, we're not throwing anything out. All we're doing is just moving things out of the gym and moving it to a classroom. So if you guys know anyone, you know, got some extra hands, that's all we need. We're not throwing anything out. We're just gonna, that's it. Do I have a date? No, not yet. Actually, prove first. That's what I'm trying to. Yeah, once I get a date, let's believe I'll reach out to you. You know, that's all we need. We're not throwing anything out. We're just moving things from one spot to another. We can do a whole little, you know, just sit. We're not throwing anything out. We just need to be like
the sandbag.
yeah, that's like, we just need hands. So if anyone knows, anyone in the community with a moving company or whatever, just guys or crew, reach out. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, motion to go into executive session. Do we have anything after
Miss-
executive session?
Mr. Vice President,
Yeah,
can I just say something real quick
of course.
before you go into executive session? I just wanted to thank Mr. Trevino for doing a fantastic job in coming in and taking over this position as acting superintendent. I also would like to thank the rest of the administration that works with Mr. Trevino for doing a wonderful job. It's a joy to work with all of you. And of course, my fellow board members for doing the amazing work you all do. It's a joy to work with all of you. Thank you.
Grazie. All right.
I want to reiterate that, and thank you, Dr. Penner, for all the support. And I really want to say Mr. Remy's force behind getting the school available is unbelievable. And I see his passion. And anything he needs from me, I'm there.
Thank you.
That's the community.
Mr. Grillo, if I can, Mr. Grillo, we're not going to be able to have Dr. Penna and Mr. Rogers in executive session, given the board's policies are 155.1. They can't join virtually. So it's my recommendation that we adjourn the meeting, and then afterwards, in lieu of an executive session, if I could just talk to the 4 board members who are here. It's a non-quorum setting. We can just have a quick conversation. But I don't think that, we're not able to have a full executive session tonight, given the lack of a quorum in person.
May I just ask one question? Do we need to pass on any of these items from E10? Or any of these policies, regulations that are attached? We didn't take any action on them. We only went through P7.
Policy is on page B5, number 11. So the attachment is related to the.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so we can't go into executive session. So we can basically make a motion to adjourn. And then we'll conversation afterwards. Okay. Look at that. It only took about an hour and a half. And half hour of that was just waiting for folks that never showed up. Listen, really quick, if it's a health emergency, like if something happened as a health emergency, like I hope that Mrs. Briggs is here okay, but it'd be nice to her. So, all right, motion to adjourn.
Go ahead.
All right. Say aye.
I knew everyone was a virtual.